How did you meet your private lender, and what are some things you can say or ask to get him to invest in you? So that's a really good question, and it's a pretty bizarre answer. So I'm going to start off by pointing you in the right direction that I think will give you a lot more clarity, not based on my personal experience. Because even though we have had a massive amount of success in finding private lenders, I don't think it's a replicable thing to do. And I could be wrong, I just don't know. But the book is called Raising Private Capital by Matt Faircloth. I've got it somewhere on my bookshelf. So I would definitely recommend giving that a read. And I would say that if you do nothing else, if you just familiarize yourself with the different investment related vehicles and the actual process of taking a 401k, rolling it over into a self directed, teaching some other people how to do that. Because a lot of people just have these 401ks sitting with previous employers and they don't really know what to do with them. And they don't really have a place to transfer it. They just know it's there and keep an eye on it, but are probably slightly leery of it because they don't work there and they're not part of that, ecosystem anymore. So I think being able to have a really solid understanding of those of the options available to those type of people, and then educating people on how they can contact different custodian companies to roll those over successfully and kind of take positive control over the money that they have in those investment vehicles. I think that is going to bring a lot of private lenders your way because you're already kind of teaching them things that they didn't know. And hopefully, you've got some sort of track record or provable interest in real estate that they wouldn't mind taking those funds and giving to you for likely a better return than they were getting wherever that money was sitting at their previous employer. So I think that is just paramount in getting started in this, is learning the nuances of that. Because while, especially again, I was in law enforcement in 2017. That's when I left. My network was other cops. That's all. Like nobody was sitting around with 6, 7 figures in their bank account just waiting for a good investment opportunity, right? So a lot of our private lenders are, at first, my first private lender was a guy that I went through the police academy with who left the department at about the same time that I did. So I helped him and roll his 401k over into a custodian account, and then we structured a loan, and I borrowed that money from him. And the trust was already there because we went through the academy together. We worked really closely, and we were, you know, really good friends. So that is how I got the first private lender. And there are likely a lot of people already in your network that have sizable, I say sizable as in 20 to $50,000 in a 401k from a previous employer that's just sitting there. You likely don't know it because they don't really go around talking about it, but there are likely a couple of people in your network that already have that. So I think it's a really good place to start. And then I think as you start proving out your concept, as you start kind of working with the resources and the relationships that you already have via word of mouth, via your growing track record, you're going to start getting the attention of other people. One of the things that I have done to surround myself with people that would probably like to be private lenders is I really pay attention to kind of my immediate network. I really pay attention to who I spend a lot of time talking to. I've gone kind of above and beyond to be in rooms with like-minded people that are trying to grow businesses, trying to improve their financial situation. Some of them are way ahead of the rest of the crowd. They've sold their businesses for a couple $1,000,000 or tens of millions of dollars. Other people are just getting started or trying to figure out what to do. But there are a lot of different avenues and networks of people that you can get involved with. And as soon as you start probably paying attention to the type of people that you are hanging around and the people that are just doing the same thing day in, day out, I mean, it's fine to be friends with them, but that's likely not who you're going to want to spend the majority of your time with if you are interested in kind of leveling up your financial situation. So I would recommend just building a private lender database from kind of your friends and family network, while also being really intentional about what kind of new friends you're bringing into your network. So being in the right rooms with the right people is a big deal. And then I would say that the last thing that I could say about this. So just to recap, clearly, the first thing is to educate yourself on the retirement avenues available to people that want to be private lenders. So the self-directed IRAs and 401ks, educate yourself on that and get comfortable on walking someone through the process. If you want to reach out to some of these custodians, off the top of my head, I know of Equity Trust Custodian and Directed IRA Custodian. Those are two of the custodian companies that offer this, and I'm sure they would love to talk to you. And I know that both of them have like webinars and online content that you can look to learn more about this, in addition to that Raising Private Capital book by Matt Faircloth. So the first is educate yourself on the tools available to you. The second is surrounding yourself with the right people, because you're not looking for one private lender, right? You're looking for a network of people that have money that they're interested in lending you. So I would much rather have 50 people with $50,000 than one person with 2 million. That's my personal preference. And I think there's a lot more stability in that, because if one thing goes wrong with that investor relationship with 2 million, then, in their personal life, if they need that 2 million back, whatever the situation be, you're going to be significantly more stable if you've got a lot of people with a smaller amount of money. So surrounding yourself with the right people. And then the third thing would just be constantly be running your mouth about real estate investing and the fact that so whatever your market is, whatever type of investments you want to do, if that's single family homes, if that's multifamily homes, figure out what your numbers are, become intimately familiar with those. Find an interest rate that you are comfortable giving to private lenders. And if that number for you is 8%, then as you're rambling about real estate investing, as you're out there talking about real estate investing to everybody say, this was my line that I always said as I was going around talking about real estate investing, and that was, we regularly borrow money from private lenders at 10 and 12%, backed by first position mortgages on properties. That's kind of all I said. And sometimes people would ask additional questions about that. Sometimes people never hear it, but it doesn't take long to say that one sentence, and it's going to catch the ears of whoever is actually interested in being one of your private lenders. So if you know that your business model is buying rental properties in Kansas City, and that you are specifically looking for single family homes in, this one area, then I would say, hey, my name is Ryan. I buy single family homes in this part of Kansas City. And in order to help me grow, I regularly borrow money from friends and family at 10 and 12% that's backed by first position mortgages on these properties. Have a couple other lines ready. Like, so worst case scenario, if I default, then the lender doesn't lose their money. They just gain a property instead. There's a lot of conversations that can stem off of you saying that. But nonetheless, I wouldn't look for a place to kind of put all your eggs in one basket, like that one lender example. I would just constantly be learning, constantly increasing your network with like-minded people, and then just always put out into conversation exactly what you intend on doing. Thanks for watching that clip. I thought that was a good question. And I think you can ask good questions too. Join us every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for a live stream Q&A where we answer plenty of questions just like this one. In the meantime, consider subscribing to the channel if you want more of this content. And if you want to increase your deal flow, analyze properties better, and help me feed my family, click the link below for a free 7-day trial of PropStream.